What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you an update to Encased, the upcoming Fallout-inspired CRPG from developer Dark Crystal Games. Encased was a project that started out on Kickstarter. I've made some videos about it before. So if you're interested, I actually recommend you check out those videos to kind of give you a general overview of what the game's about. With that said, Dark Crystal Games recently put out what will be the final update for early access for Encased. So this update brings a ton of changes, and they did state that after this, the next big update they release will be the full release of the game. And while we don't have an exact date for that yet, you can jump into early access whenever for about $30, which I believe is actually going to be the price of the game itself, mind you. Currently, you can play through about the first act of the game in its entirety. Now, into what Update 3 actually brings us. Now, the big thing, I would say probably the biggest thing about this patch is it actually kind of decently overhauls the role-playing system in the game. Now, the big things here are that action points no longer depend solely on agility, but now they are influenced by both luck and agility. Each branch of combat skills is now tied to 2 attributes as opposed to 1, and has a number of additional attributes that might affect it as well. Also, just in general, more interplay between these things in character creation that you can kind of see. Another big thing that I finally added with this update was the stealth system. So this actually was only just recently added to the game at all with this patch. You could see some of the skills beforehand, but you couldn't actually use any of them. So now you can go into stealth mode, which of course is kind of your standard stealth stuff. You do increase damage as you hit from stealth, things like that, sneak around enemies as opposed to going through them, that kind of thing. In addition to this, they've also updated many locations. So pretty much every location has seen some sort of update. Some of them have seen complete overhauls, some smaller areas, and then larger areas have had just different things done to them. Like the sewer area, for instance, had like renewed water and stuff added down into it, which looks really good, in my opinion. In addition to that, we actually have new objects and art, as well as building types you can see around the world. There are new biome elements that you can run into while exploring the dome. New weapons have been added, new unique weapons, as well as non-lethal weapons. They have updated models for in-game items, like in your inventory and stuff. They've added new armors and stuff for the factions. Prior to this, there were mostly just like placeholder armors and stuff that they were using. So now the unique items that they had been working on for those factions have been added. So when you see somebody in a faction, they'll be wearing their appropriate faction armor. They've added new models of vehicles you can see, as well as a redesign of some weapon models to actually match their intended design vibe, I guess would be a word for it. So some of the locations that were renewed were the Concord Station, which is where you start the game, the parking lots of Magellan and Nashville, the Sonora Bunker, the Radioactive Cemetery, the Crossroads location, the Weapon Dealer Shop, the Kaleidoscope Project Bunker, which was added to the floor of Magellan, the sewers I mentioned, and they also make a weird note that all the toilets in the game were completely redesigned, so I don't really know what to make of that statement, but there you go. There were also quite a few technical changes behind the combat AI system and just some changes in general to how status effects and things worked, like addictions and stuff like that. They also added difficulty levels to the game, whereas there was just one difficulty. Now you can choose new difficulties when you start the game. And of course, new animations and effects. Now, believe it or not, that's not even all of the changes, but those are the ones that I thought were noteworthy. There were some other changes made to things like, say, how the hacking and stealing and things progress as skills, changes like that, like how you actually progress those skills, as well as like small changes to combat abilities, and they were kind of reworked. But that's more kind of stuff that they responded to from feedback from early access, so in my opinion, they're not like a huge change. You're not really going to notice a big difference there. But if you've been playing the game from like the very first alpha and beta tests, you'll notice that there have been obviously bigger changes to abilities and things that you'll have noticed. But beyond that, your new player coming into this really isn't going to see much of those changes. I think that's going to wrap up this video. I just kind of wanted to give everybody an update on how Encased has been doing. It's a project I'm personally excited for. I love how the game is shaping up, especially going to see it from its first alpha release, which I was involved in, all the way to what it's doing now. So again, just very excited to see the game progressing, and I'm personally excited about seeing when it actually releases and playing through the game with you guys. So if you liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe, perhaps even consider joining the channel as a member, which really helps the channel out. But honestly, just thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing day. May you wander in wisdom.